So this is my kitchen. Yes, this is me when I stand next to the fridge. Hardy har har. For those who don't know, I don't know why this is actually still open. I've done cooking streams before, and some people actually really asked me to bring them back, as well as I've been trying to get into... I've been doing a lot of cooking myself recently. I thought it'd be kind of cool to... I don't know. I've been watching a couple of other streamers, particularly Ludwig, who's been doing like book clubs or anime clubs or movie clubs. I know so many people that want to like get into cooking, and I'm not like a chef or anything. I thought it'd be kind of cool to do like a cooking club, and every week on Wednesday, today's a Thursday, but every week on Wednesday, try and make a new recipe and just try new food and see how it goes. While I'm learning, I guess people can learn along with me, either by watching the VOD on YouTube or live. I probably should post these recipes or whatever I'm following earlier, but you know what? It is what it is. Welcome back to my cringe-ass kitchen. It is what it is. We're making Marry Me Chicken Pasta. I saw this on TikTok like months ago. I thought it was actually delicious. I ate it a couple of times. But we're following a recipe by a lady, I think, named Alyssa Rivers. I was like, there's an R in there. Alyssa Rivers. And it's a pretty chill recipe. This one doesn't have a couple of things in the one that I've made before, which, like, it doesn't have onions. It doesn't have... it might just be onions. I just remember onions. It's basically a cream pasta that is based around chicken broth and sun-dried tomatoes. This is actually the main reason I started making it. Is because I was looking for something with sun-dried tomatoes in it. Because I hadn't had them in a long time, but as a kid, I love these things. So okay, so normally you just follow a recipe in order, right? But I like to do all of my prep work early, and this thing doesn't really talk about any of the prep work. So we're going to do like everything like chopping the garlic. I like to chop my tomatoes, measuring everything out. We're going to do all that before we get into any real cooking. Maybe I'll start the water up. We don't have hot water right now because our basement flooded, and we haven't been able to get the pilot light going. So maybe I'll get that started because it's going to be ice cold water. It's going to take forever to cook or forever to heat up. Just put that on the stove. Yeah, I'm just going to chop up this garlic. People will like, when they're like crushing garlic, they'll sit there and like slap the freaking knife. I ain't doing all that, man. That's too much. If you're slow and careful, there tends to be little chance you're going to hurt yourself. I put a lot of garlic in here, by the way. I did wash the counter beforehand, so the counter is completely clean, by the way. I just like roughly chop it. Don't gotta get too fancy with it. We had this like shitty knife sharpener because I bought this it's a really nice knife from a YouTuber I watch, Adam Ragusia. I don't know if you guys can see the little beard. It was like a $70 knife, most expensive kitchenware I've ever bought, and it was getting dull because I've been using it for like 6 months. We have this like super terrible knife sharpener. I just did it a couple of times. I think like 20 times in the rough or coarse, and then 20 times in the fine before stream. It actually seems to be a lot sharper. It's actually crazy how that stuff works, isn't it? So we're putting our garlic. Our chopped garlic. I love garlic. It's actually delicious. That water is starting to get hot a lot faster than I thought it is, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. These are 2 serrano chilies. I'm only going to use one, a small one. My mom doesn't really like spice, and we're cooking for my mom today, as well as me, but my mom's not too big on spice, so we're going to try one chili. She likes a little bit, but not... She's a lot more sensitive to it than I am. We're probably throwing these in the same time we're going to throw our garlic in, so I'm just going to put them in the same container. I really like serranos. They don't have like a strong flavor. They have like kind of like just a green flavor. Not really bitter like a lot of peppers. Like habaneros are very bitter. But serranos, they kind of just taste like a pepper. The recipe calls for basil to finish the dish. There was no basil at my grocery store. Literally none. I looked all the way up and down. So we're just going to finish it with some Italian parsley. I don't know exactly what all you're supposed to like wash off, but I kind of just wash off everything now if I get the chance. Not a whole lot. This is just to put on top of the dish. It's not really for like flavor or anything. Well, maybe a little bit of flavor. Actually, after sharpening my knife, this is going so much easier. Oh my gosh, it's happening. Yes, Muffin in the kitchen. We're starting a new... It's not a cooking show. It's more of like a cooking club, Dylan. Once a week, trying out new recipes. One I was looking at that I really want to do is called Shakshuka. Is I think how it's pronounced. It actually looks really tasty. We're supposed to cook along with you. You have the ability to cook along with the stream if you want to. If you want, you can watch the YouTube video, or you can cook it later. If you exclamation mark recipe, that's the recipe we're currently following. I'm going to start posting them in advance, just so that people, if they want to cook along, they can. You can comment on the video or come into stream, tell me how you felt about the recipe, how you liked it. That's the idea. It's Thursday. I know it's Thursday, but my basement flooded yesterday, and I spent all day getting water out of it. I'm doing my best, man. I'm doing my best. I'm gonna fucking lose it. All right, so we're gonna put this to the side. Plant-based ingredients. I think the last thing is the sun-dried tomatoes. The recipe had a lot of sun-dried tomatoes in it. I don't know. I normally don't put that much, but it had a lot in there. So we're just going to take these sun-dried tomatoes. I like to chop them up. Every recipe I see, no one chops them up. But I think they're just huge. Maybe they're just big tomatoes? Like, is that a big tomato, you think? I just don't want my mouth 100% filled with tomato. That's my main thing. No, I'm short. I don't know what the top of a fridge looks like. It's not impressive, man. Trust me, there's nothing cool up there. It's like the great unknown. Well, guess what? Sometimes, honestly, anything you can imagine is on top of a fridge is better than what's actually on top of a fridge. Except for extra cabinet space. The cabinet space is nice. All right, the tomatoes do not go in the same time as the garlic. The garlic goes, it's like the start of our sauce. The tomatoes go in the same time as like the milk or the cream. So we're not going to put them with the garlic. I think we are going to put the peppers with the garlic though. This is another thing. I'm going to have to learn how this works. I swear I've heard before that you're not supposed to cut meat on a wooden cutting board. However, whenever I watch these cooking videos, everyone cooks meat on a wooden cutting board. And they just act like it's not weird at all. Maybe I was lied to as a kid. We're just getting the colander in the sink because we're using gluten-free noodles. Gluten-free noodles tend to cook a bit faster than not gluten-free noodles. I want to learn more before I start investing money. This is really the only thing here I've bought is this knife. And this knife is amazing. I did a lot of I don't want to call it research, but like a lot of looking at different knives before I picked one. Ideally, you should have one for meat and one for chicken and one for vegetables. But you can still do it on meat though, right? I mean, do meat on a wooden one, right? So we're doing meat on the plastic. That's what I've been doing. This is just, it's 2 pounds, a little over, no, it's actually 3 pounds. This is 3 pounds of boneless chicken thighs. We're only using half of it, but it's just cutting it into cubes. But I prefer boneless thighs over like breasts. I know a lot of people use breasts. I love thighs myself. Okay, sharpening the knife was like a genius idea. I should have done this months ago. I'm not even gonna lie. I want to get a nice cutting board. I want to get a really nice pans in the future. Get a nice camera so I don't look freaking blown out all the time. But I like chicken thighs because they're a bit fattier. It's a bit harder to burn them or overcook them. Well, you do have a surgical spotlight directly over your cutting board. Yeah, I got 2 of them actually. Oh, that's the other thing we're substituting. We're not doing a roux with flour. I'm going to be doing a cornstarch slurry, but that's because my mom can't eat gluten or flour at all. So we do. I do cornstarch most of the time. Okay, this water is like over here being like, why are you not putting pasta in here, bro? Come put some pasta in here. So we cut the chicken into strips. And now I'm just kind of cutting them into like segments, like little cubes. People say 1-inch cubes. I cut them a bit smaller. I like them getting lost in the pasta a bit. A little lost in the sauce, if you will. And that's most of our prep. I should have grated my cheese earlier. That was a mistake. But most of our prep is done. I'm going to try and find the driest part of my cutting board. And this is where we're going to grate our cheese. Oh, let's throw the pasta in. Now, like every good Italian person will tell you, salt your water. I don't put that much in there. They say salt it like the sea. Bro, I'm not trying to die. Wait for it to bubble a little bit more, turn the temp up. I also put a little bit of olive oil in there. I don't know what the point of the olive oil is normally, but I find you don't really have to worry about the bubbles bubbling over. Like ever, if you put some oil in there. What kind of cheese? Okay, that's another adjustment we made. Look, we got this nice block of cheese here from Kroger, right? This nice block of cheese. The recipe calls for Parmesan. This meal calls for Parmesan. However, if you try and go by yourself, how much is this? Like a fourth of 40% of a pound? of Parmesan, that's just going to cost you $12. Look, I like to be bougie, but I'm bougie on a budget. This is Grana Padano. It was on sale. It was $6. Look, most people can't tell the difference. If you eat like Kraft singles all the time, you're not going to tell the difference between Parmigiano Reggiano, real cheese, and Grana Padano. You can't tell. I'm not saying they're not different. I'm just saying. I'm just saying most people don't know the difference. Oh, wait, did I already throw the pasta in there? Am I stupid? Yeah, I did. I'm just gonna grate this down. It's really good, even if it's like American cheese or any other cheese. If you're trying to make a sauce with the cheese, it's really good to grate it yourself. Just because when you buy shredded cheese, or I guess shred it yourself, when you buy pre-shredded cheese, it comes with things like, I think it's like dextrose or just stuff to make it so it doesn't clump. And that stuff makes it not melt as evenly into a sauce. So for no other reason, that's a good reason to just buy, like, grate your own cheese. And it doesn't have to be some super expensive shit like Gruyere. It can be American. It can be cheddar. It can be some Gouda. I've actually been really enjoying Asiago or Grana Padano myself. A little bit of an arm workout too. I love Asiago. Asiago does not get enough credit. It's pretty good. I don't know if that's a cup, but that's a decent... Oh, it literally looks like heaven right there. You cannot even see the cheese. Well, we got a healthy amount of cheese right here. Don't worry about it. Whew, what else am I doing? We're just letting that pasta cook. You let the pasta cook fully before you start working on the sauce. Just then you don't have to worry about boiling and burning stuff at the same time. Do things one at a time, take your time, and you'll probably not fuck anything up. Especially if it's your first time. I know there's Italian seasoning. We can probably just put that in, eyeball it. Heavy cream, I think it's about a cup goes in there, but you can really just eyeball it to your own preference. Most of the time when I'm cooking, I kind of just go off of feel. If I feel like the sauce is a little bit too thin, then you cook it, reduce it down, or you can even put more cheese in there. That'll thicken it up. If it's a little too thick, you can put it either in more chicken broth or you can put in more cream. But if you feel like maybe it's losing some of its flavor, cream tends to dilute the flavor a bit much, I find. But some chicken broth will bring some more of that like brothy flavor to it. Great content, by the way. I'm a chef. I'm not a chef. I'm a 26-year-old who's been cooking for like 8 months. Okay, so we're gonna. While that's still cooking, I'm going to go ahead and make the cornstarch slurry. Now, cornstarch is not just for a gluten-free substitute. You'll find that I think if you make like stroganoff, it calls for cornstarch. It might call for flour. Cornstarch, if you put it into something hot, it will immediately coagulate and like turn into like these lumps and shit. So what you do is you take cold water and cornstarch, mix them together, and then you pour that into the thing you're cooking. Something I'm just now thinking is, since we're already putting chicken broth into the dish, and cornstarch basically just helps thicken the food. If we're already putting chicken broth, maybe we can just mix our cornstarch with our cold chicken broth, which will be going into sauce later. That's thinking with your noggin. Oh, we'll just pour like a cup in here. I was thinking this wasn't a big bowl, but I don't really have a big bowl. My other option is like I have these steins. I don't know why we have these giant-ass steins. Like, no one in our family drinks, but we have these freaking ginormous mugs. Well, you know what? I can put two cups of chicken broth in there. Always checking on your pasta. You want it slightly underdone, because it's going to finish cooking in the sauce. So when it's got just a little bit of chew left to it, you can go ahead and rinse it out. And we're just going to put this on the side. That's just going to sit in a colander for now. So, turn this burner on. Now, do we put olive oil in to start, or is it just butter? We're throwing oh, no, you start the chicken. You brown the chicken first. Okay. Season with salt and pepper. In a large skillet, heat the olive oil. Okay, to medium-high heat. All right, so we're going to turn this one on a little bit. I'm going to put some olive oil in there. Now, it doesn't need too much. Like I said, I'm cooking with chicken breasts. I mean, chicken thighs, and chicken thighs release a lot of liquid. So they do not need nearly as much oil as like if you did chicken breasts. I only put like just maybe like half a tablespoon in there, just enough to like get it started. Look, normally I'll crack it, but we got this pre-salt and pepper mix. Joshua Weissman's crying right now, but it is what it is. All right, we're gonna let that almost fully cook. Actually, no, I think you just do fully cook it. We're going to let that fully cook. We also want it to get a little bit of color on there. To get a little bit of that caramelization, that fond that gets on the bottom of the pan. And then that's going to help make our sauce a little bit more meaty, a little bit more delicious. I don't know exactly how that works, but that's what everyone says, so I'm just copying them. I got this one spoon. I don't know what the heck you do with this spoon. Like, what is the intention of a spoon like this? But I like it when I have to poke stuff. So, like, I'm poking chicken. You see? You just poke it. Spread it out. Let it all get some of that love, some of that temp. Start cooking up. Then we can start measuring out... Oh, we were going to do the slurry. So we got our giant-ass mug. We got our chicken stock. Why does it smell so good, dude? It's like half of one of these. This is 4 cups. You want 2. I think that's about right. Throw this back in the fridge. I was trying to remember the numbers when I actually bought everything. I think if you buy everything in the medium amount of ingredients that I did, it came out to like $30. However, most of those ingredients, you're only going to use half of it. Like, you're only going to use half the chicken. You're only going to use half of the stock. I mean, you can make the rest of this cheese rind stress, right? And we actually shredded too much, so you could probably double the cheese. So it's actually probably closer to $15 and $20, depending on if you had sun-dried tomatoes already. It's probably like $20. I feel like I'm so bad at like shaking spices out. Nothing comes out. We're gonna take our long whisk, as well as. We actually got a lot of cheese, so we probably don't need that much cornstarch. A little less than a tablespoon, I think. And yeah, you'll normally just do this with water. And then when you actually pour that into your dish, it'll be like fully dispersed and you won't have to worry about any gross clumps. There you go, there you go. That chicken's actually, it smells delicious and it's just salt and pepper. I can't wait until all this other stuff gets in there. I could almost take a sip of this right now. Almost would. And we're kind of almost done. That's kind of it. Alright, funny enough, our Italian seasoning and our cream going at the same time. Boy, honestly, I could save a bowl and just put them in the slurry. Wait, I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Now, let me make sure I'm not about to totally fuck this up. 1 cup heavy cream and 2 teaspoons of dried Italian seasoning. Okay, I was about to put a whole tablespoon in there. I don't know how much the ratio between a teaspoon and a tablespoon is, but I know it's a lot smaller. So we're just going to put like 1/3 of a tablespoon in there. There's probably like 6 teaspoons in a tablespoon, right? There can't be that many. Alright, our meat's getting cooked. It's actually starting to stop releasing a lot of moisture. So now's a good time to stop letting it stop touching it. Because the more you touch it, the less it's going to brown. You need to have like one side stick on the bottom for quite some time to get a bit of color on there. Now I'm just going to throw a cup of heavy cream in here. Stir that all together. It unironically smells amazing. If that's not your favorite like mixed drink, you and I can't be friends. Boring, like be patient section of the recipe. I don't think we put enough cornstarch in there, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to put a little bit more in there. It's like 3 tablespoons of flour. I put like less than a tablespoon of cornstarch. I'm going to put more in there. Gotta get out of the kitchen. You know when the dogs show up out of nowhere, you're doing something right. When they start scrounging around on the ground for some tasty morsels, that's how you know It actually does smell delicious. Now the chicken started fighting me when I started pushing it around on the pan. That's how you know it's probably got a decent amount of brown on there. And you can probably finish off with the chicken. Now, there's a decent amount of oil still on this pan, so what I'm gonna do, just so that we can avoid some oily chicken, is I'm gonna put it on a plate, but I'm gonna just put a paper towel underneath it. Try and save the extra oil because we're about to use it pretty much. This is 4 tablespoons of butter. Recipe calls for 3, but I don't feel like cutting and putting 1 tablespoon back in the fridge. So we're just putting the whole thing in there. All in the same pan. You're really going to get some of that meat that's stuck to the pan. That's going to become part of the sauce. I've said a couple of times, the best thing about sauce is normally the meat juice that's in there. It's actually so good. Like, of all the meals I've been learning how to cook, it's the meat juice that really pulls it all together. Now, the recipe says you're going to want to put the pasta in the thing. I don't got that big of a skillet, so I'm just putting the pasta back in the pot. We're going to finish the sauce in the skillet, and then we're just going to pour it over the pasta in here. Less chance of things going all over everywhere. Part of me is a little scared that because I'm in the food and the cooking category or whatever, people are gonna think I know what I'm doing, or that I think I know what I'm doing. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just cooking shit, hoping it tastes good. And if it don't taste good, just put some salt on it. All right, that's pretty much good. So now we're gonna put our garlic and our serrano peppers. Those are going in the butter. And you're going to let that kind of like cook up for about 30 seconds to 50 seconds, depending on how hot your pan is. And this is where normally, if you're using flour, you would then, right after this gets finished cooking up the garlic, you would put in your flour and make your kind of roux paste. We, however, are doing our cornstarch slurry, so we don't have to worry about the roux. All right, we're going to put the sun-dried tomatoes in the pan, poggers. I think these tomatoes are all just, once you're able to smell them, that's pretty much enough. Everything's going to finish cooking as the sauce continues cooking. Now we're just going to take our slurry and pour it on in there. And yeah, even this much liquid is getting ready to overflow with any amount of stirring. And that's why I am definitely not going to be putting the noodles in there. I'm a little sketchy if I'm even going to be putting the chicken in there, but the chicken should be fine. It'll be thickened up by then. We're just going to go ahead, throw the cheese in there too. Probably bring the temp up a little bit. Cheese a little bit at a time, just so it incorporates a bit and doesn't just become one giant cheese clump. There you go. And yeah, we'll just let it cook down a little bit. It'll become thicker slowly. Hopefully that cornstarch does its work. Oh, it actually tastes really good. Let me since we're not, we used all the sun-dried tomatoes, we can just throw this oil in there. The sun-dried tomato juice. It'll make it a little oily, but it'll also make it taste delicious. I've got sauce all over the freaking stove, dude. Oh, that was not on purpose. Trying to keep the workstation clean without hurting ourselves. It's the best I can do. Probably just gonna let that bubble for a little bit. Clean up. Just start getting everything put away a bit. Not yet there yet, but it's starting to thicken up a whole lot. I just like to wash the obvious dishes early. Obvious ones like colander, knife. You don't want anyone cutting themselves. Colander, so easy to wash, as well as it's big and gets in the way. So if you just get it out of the way quickly, you don't have to worry about it. I think it just saves so much mental, dude. Just get it out of the way. Oh, that's really starting to come together. Actually, probably as that reduces in temp, it'll probably be done. We're going to put that chicken in. Piece or two for me. Then we're going to try our best to go ahead and pour this on top of the noodles. I'm just going to let those finish together a little bit, finish cooking the pasta, and then it's going to finish thickening itself. You got to wash the strainer right away, otherwise the noodle juice solidifies and it's a pain to get off. True, that's also a big deal. While that's finishing, I'm just going to get the cutting board and the pan washed, just because they're also pretty easy, and better to get it done now than let it sit and wait for later. Alright, that actually looks so good. It actually looks so good, dude. A little bit of that Italian parsley to finish it off. And there you go. I'll have to get like a better picture for like the Instagram. But like a lovely bowl of Marry Me chicken pasta. Oh, it actually smells amazing. Wait, where's my phone? I want to take a picture of this. Oh, it looks so good. So yeah, that's it. This is actually the best one I've made. Wait, this is actually so good. I think the main difference is I normally don't do the parsley. And it's supposed to be basil, but we didn't have any basil at the grocery store. Or at least none that I felt comfortable cooking with. So, this was really good. If you guys made this and you're watching the YouTube video or something like that, let me know how you think. If you tried it and it was pretty good. Because I think it's pretty tasty. I don't want to do like pasta every time, even though like my default is cooking pasta. A couple of ideas that I have for future episodes. Or not really episodes, but like, I guess weeks. Shakshuka, it's like a tomato and egg African dish, I believe. And Hainanese chicken. I believe it was Hainanese chicken. I don't know how you pronounce that word, but it's like spelled with two N's. Hainanese. Yeah, two N's. And we found this lovely guy who has like this nice ASMR almost cooking channel. And I'm kind of hyped to cook it, so. It's creamy, it's chickeny, it's savory, and it's got that burst of flavor from the sun-dried tomatoes. It's just so good. Something I never realized was a thing, but I understood because Alyssa put it in her recipe. That sauce actually fills penne, and then you bite into it and it like gushes out of the pasta, and so you get like a second wave of just like juicy flavor. It's actually really good. I keep saying good. I need to find better ways to describe food. I love penne for that. I've never thought of that. All right. Well, that's kind of the stream. That's kind of the episode or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to eat this in peace. Holy, this is so good. Thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate y'all hanging out here while I cook some food. Looks delicious. I'm jealous. Well, it could be you in like a couple of days or something. I don't know. But that's it from me, guys. As always, I've been Muffin. You guys have been amazing. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.